All right, ladies and gentlemen, today we are going to look at how do we write a numerical expression when given a word problem. You've been doing it from just the word sentences. You've been solving a ton of order of operation problems, and you're getting so much better at it. Really following those order of operations, really understanding how I need to write that numerical expression. But today we're going to look at it in a real life situation. This kind of brings out what's the whole purpose of our order of operations. Why do we want to solve it in a certain order? One thing we need to keep in mind today, solving these problems, you've solved problems just like this so many times before, and the numbers really aren't even that big, but you would typically do it in a two-step problem. And what we're going to do today is we only want one equation that solves the entire problem. So what we're looking at is what equation would solve all parts of this problem in all one single line equation. So if we look here, our first problem says in a library there were 12 books in each of the 4 shelves of a rack, but Jamie takes away 3 books from each of the 2 shelves. How many books are there now? Choose an equation that fits the story. So I want to look at what I actually have. So I'm going to use my little highlighter tool here. And I want to look at, I know that there are 12 books on each of the 4 shelves. So I'm going to highlight that because that's pretty important information. And then I know Jamie takes away 3 books from each of the 2 shelves. So she's taking away something. We know that take away means subtract. So I need to look at first what equation would address this part of my problem. This is what I have first. This is what I need to address first. 12 books on each of the 4 shelves. That's telling me that I have 4 sets of 12. So I need to look down here and see what is going to be representing 4 sets of 12. And when I look through my equations, I can see A shows that, and C is going to show that 4 sets of 12. B is not going to show that. That's going to be that 3 sets of 12, which if someone's just reading through the problem and picking out random numbers to use, they can see, well, there's a 12 and there's a 3. I think I'll just put them together. We really have to read carefully to see what the question is actually asking. So B isn't going to work. We're going to get rid of B. And then if I look, D isn't going to work either just because it's got 2 sets of 12. Now again, there is that number 2, so if you're just randomly looking, you might think that that's what's going to work, and not for this problem. That's not what this problem is saying. I'm going to get rid of that one too. So now I'm left with A and C. So now I need to look at the second part of my problem that I'm being faced with here. It says Jamie takes away. Well, I know, like I said before, take away means subtract. So I need to find the one with subtraction. The only one that's going to subtract is going to be here. And now I want to look and just make sure they both have 3 times 2. Where is that coming from? Well, it's coming from here. 3 books from each of the 2 shelves. So I have 2 sets of 3 that I'm taking away from my 4 sets of 12. So that's what I'm going to look at. That this problem, if I do 12 times 4 first, and then I need to do 3 times 2 because it's in my parentheses, that would be my next step, and subtract this answer, or sorry, this answer from that answer, and then I would get my final answer on how many books there are left on the shelf. All right, we're going to try another one, and then I want you to go ahead and you're going to do one on your own, and we'll go over it together. So we have the Jobs family. It has 4 members. The elder 2 members have a motorbike and a car each. The other 2 members only have a motorbike each. How many vehicles do they have in all? Well, again, I want to look for my important information. So I have the elder 2 members have a motorbike and a car each. That's telling me that they each have 2 vehicles. So 2 people each having 2 vehicles. That's important information. And then I see that the other 2 members only have a motorbike each. So the other 2 people only have 1 vehicle. So that's the information I need to use to see how am I going to figure out how many vehicles they have altogether. So I want to address the first part here in my problem. The 2 elder members have a motorbike and a car each, meaning 2 people with 2 vehicles. So I want to look down at my options here. Well, I have an option here. It looks like A already. It's 2 times 2. That would give me my 2 people and their 2 vehicles each. If I look down here, 4 plus 2, that's not really going to help me because I'm not adding anything together yet. I still have to figure out how many do the older 2 have total, how many do the other 2 have total, and then put theirs together. So that's why none of these here that have that 4 starting, I know that there's a 4 here, but I'm not using the 4 in the information I need. I only need these 2 sets of the problem. So really, this one, A, is going to be my only one that works. I'm going to show you why it works at the second part. It would be okay to say plus 2. Like this plus 2 isn't wrong because it's 2 members, each having 1, but not when it starts with that 4 times 2. There's nothing in here that's telling me I'm doing 4 times 2. I have my 2 times 2, which represents my 2 older members of the family, each having a motorbike and a car. So that's their 2 vehicles each. And then I have my 2 other members, which only have just a motorbike. And so that is that 1 vehicle for one of them. So we're going to do one more, but you're going to solve the next one. Make sure I'm going to tell you when to pause the video, and you're going to go ahead and solve it, and then we'll go over the answer. So here's our next one. Says Stella wants to buy an atlas that costs $10, a novel that costs $8, and a comic that costs $6. She saves $16 from her pocket money, which just means her money. How much more money does she need to buy all 3 books? So I want you to think about what you have here, what's going on in this problem. She wants to buy. It doesn't say she did buy. It says she wants to buy an atlas, that's $10, a novel, that's $8, and a comic book that is $6. So she wants to buy all those things. She already has $16. How much more money does she need? So I want you to pause the video here for a moment, solve it, and some of you may already to the point where you can solve it in your head, and that's great. And if not, you need to have paper out and writing it out. Don't just guess. We don't want to guess. So take a moment, solve it, and then push play. All right, I hope you really did push pause and solved it, and you're back now. So if we look at what we have here, we have to, the first step that we would have to do if we were just solving this problem, not creating one numerical expression, we would know, well, I've got to figure out how much is everything going to cost that she wants to buy. So I have $10 and $8 and $6. That's all the things that she wants to buy. I'm going to have to add that together first. So I'm going to look down in my options. And I say there's only C and D that have those adding all 3 of those together. So I'm going to get rid of A because it doesn't add all 3 objects together. It's not going to work. And I'm going to get rid of B because it's not, again, it's not adding all 3 of the objects that she needs to buy. Now I need to look at my $16 that she already has. Well, I have 2 different options that use the 16, but one is subtracting 16 from my total and one's adding it. Well, if we're looking at how much more money she needs, how many more things she needs, I need to subtract what I already have to figure out how much more I need. When you see those words, how many more, how much more, those are your subtraction words that are going to help you understand I need to subtract. So here, C is my best option for this answer because I do need to subtract what I already have to figure out how much more I need. So if you notice, again, I'm not asking you to solve any of these at this point. I just need you to be able to look at the word problem and then create the numerical expression from that. All right, next one you're going to do on your own. So it says little Jane and 5 adults came to La Forêt restaurant, a little French place apparently. On the dinner table, there are 2 plates for each adult and only 1 plate for little Jane. How many plates are on the table? So you have to look and see which numerical expression fits the situation. Go ahead and push pause, take a moment, solve the problem, and then push play when you're ready to go over it. All right, again, hopefully you really did push pause and solve it on your own because remember, you're only going to learn if you actually are doing this on your own as well and trying it out. So let's look at what we have. We have little Jane and 5 adults coming to the restaurant. Okay, so I need to know I have 5 adults that came to the restaurant and 1 little Jane, 1 child. Another important piece of information is that I need to know that there are 2 plates for each adult. Pretty important information there. And only 1 plate for little Jane. So little Jane gets 1 plate, the adults get 2 plates apiece. So I want to look at my expressions and say, okay, well, which one's going to address 5 adults each getting 2 plates? Well, I know that means I have 2 sets of 5 or 5 times 2 with each of those adults getting those 2 plates counting by 2. So I look at my options here. And the only 2 options that address that are B and C. So I'm going to get rid of A because that's subtracting. I'm not subtracting it. I'm not adding 5 plus 2 because each adult got 2 plates. So I need my 5 times 2. Now I know little Jane only had 1 plate, so 1 extra plate for little Jane would give me that expression here, the 5 times 2 plus 1 extra plate for Jane. All right, one more for today. That again, I'm going to have you solve on your own and we'll go over it. And then you have some IXL practice that you're going to click on. I emailed every single person yesterday 50 emails of IXL logins, so you can go ahead and get on IXL and use that information, and you can play on it too. I also uploaded a video on how to get to IXL and how to access your assignments, so make sure you watch that before you get on. But we'll do one more together. So the next one I have is a city has 26 courier offices, which means like post offices. In the 20 of the offices, there are 10 workers each. The remaining 6 offices have 8 workers each. How many workers are there? This is a little bit more complex. So I want you to take a moment, pause the video, think about what do you have and how could you figure out how many total offices I need. All right. So now after you've solved it, let's look at our important information. We know that there's 26 offices total. Okay. That doesn't ask me how many total offices they have. I need to know how many workers there are total, and there's not the same amount in every single office. If there were, that would be one equation, one quick one-step equation, be pretty easy. But this is not the same. So I know that in 20 offices, there are 10 workers in each of the office. And then I know in the remaining 6, they each have 8 workers. So I'm going to look at both of those. How many total workers are there? So I need to take my 20 times 10, which I'm going to look and see which one has that because it's 10 officers each. So that means each one of those 20 offices has 10 workers, 10 workers, 10 workers, 10 workers. So I'm multiplying. So I can see A and C have that 20 times 10. B is not going to work because it's adding your 20 plus 10. And D is subtracting your 20, subtracting 10. We're not doing that. So I have 20 times 10. That represents my 20 offices with 10 workers each. Now I have 6 offices with 8 workers each, which is 6 times 8. So both of these are going to work for my second step here. But then to find out how many total, we always know total means you're either adding or multiplying. And a lot of times when it says what's the total, you're adding. Okay, so we're going to look at here. This is going to be my answer because this is taking how many do I have at my 20 offices total and how many do I have at my 6 offices and then putting those two amounts together. So I would have to solve this parentheses, then these parentheses, and then add them together to get my total amount of workers. All right, so that's it for today for our practice. Again, you're going to go to IXL and you're going to practice on there. And then you have a quick chat today. Today's a little bit longer on math. We have our Meet with a Teacher session too at 10:30, so make sure you join that. And if you can't join it, I will be recording it. All right, thank you. Have a good day.